Okay. So, good evening, everyone. We're going to start the session on breast today. I'm sorry for cancelling yesterday. It was not possible for me to happen yesterday, but I canceled it. And I asked Birva today to start the presentation and make a small PPT about the case. The breast is a big topic.
Yes, sir. I'll start.
Just a second. You can start sharing your screen. Share your screen. So breast is a big topic. So as of my thinking was that we could divide it into two things: the practical part and specifically CA breast. If you guys want it, we'll see how today's session go, and then we'll decide what to do. I would like to go in depth a bit about the treatment options about CA breast, because unlike other cases in breast specifically, it is known that the examiner goes over the treatment options also in depth, not only just the examination part. So, but let's first clear up the examination part, and then we'll see what to do. So Birva, start sharing the screen. We'll first see a short history and the important examination parts. The breast is in general a very simple case. If we see the examination part, we'll just keep a few things in mind. Definitely a lot of things to examine it, but if you are clear with it, in general, the DDs, the theory, and the examination part is very simple. It's not something that is very complicated. I hope that if you guys read after this lecture, or even if you have read already, you know a lot of things. Okay, so let's start off. Just a second. Yeah, try sharing it again, Birva.
Yes, sir.
Hello, hello. Is my voice still cracking? Hello. Can everyone hear me? Hello. Okay. Let's start off here. Yeah.
I'm presenting a case of 45-year-old Hindu married female named XYZ, a housewife residing in Ahmedabad, came to hospital with chief complaint of lump in right breast since 3 months. History of present illness. Patient was relatively asymptomatic before 3 months when she developed a small lump in her right breast which was painless and gradually progressed to present size. Negative history. No history of trauma, no history of fever, no history of pain aggravated before menstruation, no history of any discharge from nipple. History of complication, no history of retraction of nipple, no history of ulceration over breast skin, no history of swelling in opposite breast, no history of chest pain or cough or hemoptysis, no history of backache, no history of pain or lump in abdomen, no history of headache or blurring of vision or convulsion or weakness of any limbs, no history of weight loss. Personal history, menstrual history, age of menarche is 16 years. Last menstrual period was 3rd June 2020, and it's regular, moderate, and painless. Obstetric history, age at first pregnancy was 24 years. She has G1, P1, A0, L1. Child was breastfed for 6 months. No history of occipital hormone replacement therapy intake. Past history, no history of hypertension, diabetes, TB, asthma, jaundice, no history of surgery or blood transfusion, no history of similar complaints in past. Family history not significant, treatment history and allergic history not significant. General examination,
Okay.
patient was
So
examined after taking her consent.
Hello. Yeah. Stop it. Okay. Yeah. So it's a long case. So we did as we did in PVD and thyroid for all of us who were not before in those cases. In a long case, we generally try to see the history part first and evaluate it if possible, and see the DDs and what can we come at the end of that. So repeating for all those on you. So our examiner basically asks you 3 or 4 standard questions every time, that in a long case at least. So what is your, first of all, what is the provisional diagnosis at the end of history, provisional diagnosis at the end of examination, a few key examination points, your differential diagnosis and your plan of management. So the provisional diagnosis at the end of history is something that is very important in breast. So can you tell me, Birpa, what is your provisional diagnosis at the end of history, just history?
Provisional diagnosis is a patient is having a benign, not benign, but a breast lump with, sorry, sir, I won't be able to present that.
Can you at least tell what is it? Like, can at least tell what kind of lump is it? Is it a breast lump, the benign, malignant? Is there any complications? Are you suggesting something? There are a few key points. If you can't, it's fine. We'll see one by one. Just go to the first slide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So basically, the chief complaints in case of a breast case are two. There are two basic chief complaints that are always to be asked. One is lump. The second is nipple discharge. Okay. So these are the two basic things that we have to always ask, and then only we move ahead. So we break down the whole case of breast in the form of lump of various types. Okay. So the first is lump in the breast. Okay. So what do you ask in the lump in the breast? What are the things we ask in the lump in the breast? The things we ask is, first of all, when will lump first appear? Okay. Is the lump increasing or decreasing in size? Second. Third, is the lump associated with any pain or not? Fourth, is the lump associated with any nipple discharge, yes or no? Okay. These are the 4 key points just in the history part related to lump that we ask. Okay. Obviously, a very important key point before even asking about the lump is age. Okay. In the case of thyroid, as it was, in the case of breast, the most important thing in the whole diagnosis is age. The one key differentiating point that can change the whole diagnosis is age. Okay. So here, the 45-year-old, so it's basically something that is around menopause or perimenopause in case of Indians. Okay. In India, the menopause reaches around 44, 45 years of age. In the West, the menopause is around 55 or 50 years of age, probably after 55. For Indians, 45 is around menopause or perimenopause, as well as to say. And with a lump in the breast since 3 months. So the lump should then be described. Okay, so the next slide. Oh. So here she has said that let's use asymptomatic of 3 months and develop a small lump which is gradually progressing to the present size and painless. So what all things have do we have to ask? First, the lump, when did first appear? So 3 months ago. What is happening to it? It's gradually increasing in size. The third thing, pain or painless. So it is a painless lump. But fourth thing, nipple discharge. So she has the nipple discharge in the history of negative history. So what are the differential diagnoses of 45-year-old female with a breast lump? If someone says a 45-year-old female with breast lump, what is the first diagnosis? Birva? What will you first think?
Malignant lesion.
Yeah. Okay. So in cases of breast, if a person crosses 40 years of age, the female is greater than 40 years old, our basic aim is whether she has a malignant lesion or not. The only and only thing the whole examiner wants, or basically you want to prove in your history, is whether the patient has a malignant lesion or a benign lesion for any breast complaint, whether it's a breast lump or a nipple discharge or pain, whatever it is. What you want to prove or rule out is a CA or a malignancy. Okay, that is all you want to know on the basis of history and on the basis of examination. So the first important thing in case of a CA is the age, which is greater than 40 or 45 years old. The second thing for a lump is basically gradually progressing and painless, both of which are present over here. So here, unless proved otherwise, this is taken to be a malignant lump. Okay. So you can easily tell just by these two slides that there is a malignant lump, or there is probably a 45-year-old female with a lump in her breast, so most probably malignant in nature, the staging of which cannot be decided just on the basis of history. That is what you have to tell if someone asks what is the provisional diagnosis at the end of history. Okay, it's a very simple case. Breast is a very simple case. Okay, if someone asks what are the other differentials for a breast lump, what is the second most common differential for a breast lump apart from cancer in a 45-year-old female? Okay, do you know it? Any differential diagnosis?
Fibroadenoma.
45-year-old female, do you suspect fibroadenoma commonly? What is the common age group of fibroadenoma? Anyone else can answer if he doesn't want, it's fine. Birwa first
20
chance.
to 30 years.
Sorry? Someone answered, but I couldn't hear anything. Sorry.
Fat necrosis.
Okay. So the one thing that I want to tell you guys all at the end of any of my lecture, or anything that you should remember from all my lectures, is do not start speaking out things which you cannot back up or which you cannot justify yourself on. I've said this a multiple number of times, and again I'm repeating. Akshita, fat necrosis is a rare thing. Okay, and next question will be what is fat necrosis? Why does it happen? The pathology, the treatment, and everything which you would not know. What are the common DDs of any breast lump? If there are the breast lump, how do you decide it? Someone else wants to answer? Yeah, Akash, you can answer. Someone said lipoma. Someone said lipoma. It's not a common DD in a breast lump. They're talking about breast lump, not a skin lump.
Metastasis.
Pyeloid tumor.
Yeah, a pyeloid tumor. That's a good thing. And someone just forget all listing out the DDs. As I always say, first, always divide things. Tabulate, divide, make a flowchart of anything you do. So divide all the differentials that you have in your mind. Okay. A breast is a case in which you can definitely say a diagnosis at the end of just history, not even examination. So divide all the common things or the complaints you have, and the most common thing associated with the complaint. Most common breast lump is a malignant lump. Most common complaint associated with nipple discharge should be, what is the pathology of most common nipple discharge? You all are reading common things, right? So what is the most common symptom or most common pathology with breast nipple discharge?
Duct ectasia.
Birwa, do you know it? If not, can someone else please answer? Or
Duct ectasia.
duct ectasia. Yeah, a very common DD of
Ductal
nipple discharge
papilloma.
is duct ectasia. Most common is ductal papilloma. Okay, so now let's not waste any more time. I'm just telling you. So basically, you can divide all the pathologies of breast into a variety of sections, and that is how you should start it, because it's easier. As I said, the most important thing is age. So keeping age in mind, you divide it into a variety of things, and it starts off. The first division we can make in a gross part is any benign lesions, or basically any lesions related to the normal developments, which we commonly term as ANDI. Okay, ANDI. Does anyone know the full form of ANDI?
Aberration of normal breast development and involution.
Aberration of normal
Development and involution.
Yeah, normal development and involution. Okay, so this is what does ANDI mean. So the first or DD of breast lump should be this. Okay, aberration of normal development and involution. The second DD is any tumors. Tumors can be benign or malignant. And the third DD is any infection. If you cover these three bases, all of your lumps, all of your complaints of breast are covered. Okay, so the ANDI is basically an aberration of normal development and involution. So normal development of the breast, what is generally taking place throughout the life of a female, starting from menarche to the normal menstrual cycle occurring to perimenopause to menopause, in that there can be some aberrations, or that is deviations from the normal part, and in those things it can lead to some disease. So an Andy has basically three components as it is divided. It can be the normal pathology, normal physiology happening. It can be some aberrations, which is just a disorder, and it is a disease. So normal, disorder, disease. This is the flowchart how you go. A disorder is not a disease. Disorder and disease are two different things. Okay. According to the age group, we can divide the variety of pathologies in Andy. The second common thing is a neoplasm, which can be a benign or a malignant neoplasm. The benign neoplasm commonly is a phylloid tumor, and the malignant neoplasm is CA breast, obviously. There are other neoplasms which are not important for us. And the third thing is infections. Okay. So how will you rule out each of these things? We'll start one by one. So a lump in the breast. If the lump in the breast is painful, it points towards some other etiology, and painless and other etiology. A painless lump in the breast is a CA breast. A cancer does not have pain. A benign tumor also does not have pain. What has pain? Infections. Infections has pain in the lump. Okay. So a pain in the lump is commonly associated with an infection part, or it can also be present in mastalgia. So what is mastalgia? Someone is in cyclical pain. So cyclical pain and cyclical mastalgia. What does that mean? Okay, do you want me to just list out all of the pathologies, chief complaints in 1111 line, and then we can differentiate each of them? Then I can go that way, or if we can go according to the history part and then differentiate it individually according to the complaints. What do you want me to do? I mean, please write in the chat box or unmute them and tell. You want me to discuss the pathologies and then the complaints of the complaints and the pathologies? Okay. Then I will go with the pathologies first, so it's easier than to describe what the complaints is. Okay. So starting with the basics, Andy has basically a variety of pathologies. It is divided into the early age group, the reproductive age group, and the perimenopausal or the late reproductive age group. Okay. So the age group of 15 to 25 years of age, 25 to 40, 40 to 40 plus, 40 to 55, who has to say, till menopause occurs. The most common pathology in the early reproductive age group is, can someone tell me, is what?
Fibroadenoma.
Fibroadenoma. Perfect. The most common pathology is fibroadenoma in the early age group. In the middle age group, it is fibrocystic disease, and in the late age group, it is, so as to say, CA breast. That is how we remember the three common pathologies in breast. So your basic aim should be starting off to either rule out or to include CA breast in your diagnosis. If you rule out CA breast, you have to start thinking towards fibrocystic disease and fibroadenoma, FCD and fibroadenoma. These are the two common pathologies. Apart from it, what are the other pathologies? Other pathologies are the common and duct papilloma and duct ectasia. Both of them occur in the middle age group to the late age group. Okay, duct ectasia is a pathology of the later age group, that is the 40 to 55 or the involution stage or the later reproductive years. And duct papilloma is also around 35 to 40, so that is also in the later stage. In the younger age group, the most common pathology is fibroadenoma. If not fibroadenoma, simple cyst is the second most common pathology. And in the middle age group, the most common pathology is always FCD, and it is generally only FCD. There is nothing else. Okay. So that is how you think what to do. So the most common complaint of fibroadenoma is just a painless lump. The most common complaint of an FCD is mastalgia with vague lump in the breast. FCD is fibrocystic disease, and the most common complaint of CA breast is obviously a painless lump. Of duct ectasia and duct papilloma, it is generally a lump associated with nipple discharge. It is not just a lump, it is associated with nipple discharge. So these are the 5 common conditions that you should know and you should rule out. Then you can move on to other conditions like fat necrosis and all those things. But these are the 5 common conditions with lump. Okay. So if I tell what is the diagnosis of a 30-year-old female with vague lump in the breast and on and off pain in the breast, what will you tell me? Birwa or someone else? A 30-year-old female with a vague lump in the breast and on and off pain in the breast.
Fibrocystic disease.
Yes. So to confirm it, what will you ask next? You will describe the lump and the pain. What will you ask in the lump? As I already said, what is the lump and associated complaint?
Consistency, hard.
You can't ask that, right? What will you ask? Someone asks, what will you ask the patient in the lump? Then you will ask, what is it associated with pain and associated with nipple discharge? Okay. So if someone tells that the 30-year-old female associated with nipple discharge, if the female suddenly says that there is nipple discharge present along with vague lumps and pain, then it points towards a ductal ectasia rather than FCD. FCD does not have a nipple discharge. Okay. About Andy, coming back to Andy, I'm not describing what is the normal development and evolution pathologically because that will be another very long topic. But simply stating, a fibroadenoma is a lump, a simple lump, which is not associated with any other thing, a benign lump, so as to say. And a fibrocystic disease is a constellation of syndromes. It is not a disease. A fibrocystic disease is a term used for a constellation of diseases normally occurring in the middle age group associated with vague lumps and on and off mastalgia, which can be cyclical or non-cyclical. Okay, and a CA breast is obviously carcinoma of the breast. A duct papilloma is an ingrowth or a papillomatous growth occurring inside the ducts associated with nipple discharge, and a duct ectasia is a dilatation of the duct. This is what the pathology in one line of all of them are. So, a fibroadenoma will be a painless lump in the breast in a 25-year-old female. A fibrocystic disease will be a vague lump that is a multiple lumps or a single vague lump which is not felt easily in a 35-year-old female associated with mastalgia. And a duct papilloma will be again a 35-year-old female with a bloody nipple discharge, and a duct ectasia will be a 35-year-old female with a vague lump and a serous to bloody discharge. So can you get all the main points through this? These are the telltale signs, okay, of each of the disease. So coming back to our case, the first complaint is lump. The negative history will include what all things? 3 specific things: pain, nipple discharge, and any other complaint in the lump present or not. Okay. So I will repeat all of those things again. So the negative history, the next slide, please. Yeah. So here she has not asked a very important thing. Is there any other complaints in the similar breast or in the opposite breast? That is the important negative history you have to rule out at this point. So that is why that is important in FCDs, in fibrocystic diseases. Basic thing happening in the breast is in the reproductive years, what happens is there are estrogens and progesterones coming up and down throughout the cycle of menstrual cycle, during which sometimes a part of the breast proliferates, some involutes. Because of the proliferation, there is a cyst-like formation, and then it involutes on its own. So there are vague lumps coming and going, which is commonly known as nodularities. Nodularities, not lumps. Okay? That is what clinically we say is nodularity. So that is what an FCD is. And because of those increase in size of the lump and decrease in size of the lump, along with the hormones, the female commonly sees it as a mastalgia, commonly cyclical mastalgia. So that is why pain aggravated during menstruation is asked. A cyclical mastalgia, that is what is pain, which is increasing with menstruation, decreases with the menstruation. So going back to the short history again, you ask the first thing, the age, the second thing, a lump. If now I'm dividing it according to the complaints. If a lump is a painless lump, and you see the age, in a young age it is fibroadenoma, in a middle age it's FCD, in a later age it's an CA breast. If there is no lump, the chief complaint is nipple discharge. In the nipple discharge, you ask what kind of nipple discharge it is. This is all the history. You are not examining the patient, okay? And there is a history. If the nipple discharge is a bloody nipple discharge, you suspect CA breast or a ductal papilloma. In a serous nipple discharge, you suspect something like ductal ectasia or an FCD sometimes. And in cases of a milky nipple discharge, something like galactoria or just pregnancy is suspected. Okay, just a second. Okay. So that is the basic how you divide it. So after asking pain in the lump in the breast, you would ask pain in the breast, which will points towards an FCD or a mastalgic pain. If there is no pain in the breast, you will ask, you see the age of the patient, which will divide it into fibroadenoma or some other disease, whatever it is. You'll ask the nipple discharge. If there's nipple discharge with a lump and pain, it is again an FCD. If there is a nipple discharge, but there is no lump, it is more likely that it is a ductal papilloma or ductal ectasia. That is how you go about it through it one by one, and you divide the thing and reach a conclusion that whether it's CA breast or some other thing. Okay, did you get it? The basic funda of learning this is you need to understand that you need to rule out a carcinoma breast as the first thing through the history and through the examination part. If not a carcinoma breast, what type of disease is it? Okay. And another thing that is left out is infections. If there is fever, it points towards the infection. No fever, no infection. Fever can be again associated with a lump. If there is a lump, it's an abscess. If there is no lump, there is just a fever, it's a mastitis. Okay. Okay. So moving on to the history of complications. These are complications related to the CA breast. So these are generally asked to rule out if there is any metastasis present or not, like backache, cough, chest pain, all of those things. This is fine. The next important thing is the personal history. So the next point, please. Yeah. So in the part of the personal history, the very important thing to ask is the obstetric and the menstrual history. Why is it important? What are the risk factors for CA breast in related to menstrual and obstetric history?
Early menopause and late menarche.
What is early menopause and what is late menarche? Sorry, it is the opposite thing. But early menarche and late menopause, first of all.
Early menarche and late menopause.
Yeah. So what is early menarche and what is late menopause?
Before 14 years is early menarche.
No, early menarche is before 13 years. Normally 12 years or 13 years is taken the cutoff. In Western, it's 13 years. Here, it's 12 years. You can see 13 or 12, it's fine. Less than 13 or less than 12 is the early menarche and late menopause.
More than 45 years.
Yeah, in the Indian scenario, it is more than 45 years, but there is no specific criteria for the Indian scenario. So you commonly see more than 55 years. 55 years is the cutoff for Western scenarios, but in Indian scenario, it is only 45 years. Okay, and what is the relevance of obstetric history?
Nulliparity and late marriage increases risk of CA breast.
Nulliparity and late what?
Late marriage.
Late, not marriage, so I should say late childbirth, specifically the first childbirth. Okay, you can't blindly put up that a late marriage is it. So pick your answers correctly. With the obstetric history, the important factors are the age at the first pregnancy, as you have pointed out, the first child, if the nulliparity or not, obviously, and the age at which the first child happens, and the child number of children carried up to full term, and number of children which are breastfed. These are important points. And why are each of these important points? What is the basic underlying factor or underlying thing that we want to see for each of these things? What are the concept behind it? Why are these important risk factors?
It increases, causes hyperestrogenic conditions in female.
Exactly. It increases the exposure of estrogen to the body in is a female, both in all these conditions, basically in early menarche, in late menopause, if the first childbirth is very late, if there is nulliparity, or if the patient is not the children is not exclusively fed, all of these things basically lead to a condition in which there is an increased estrogenic state. So age at first pregnancy is very important. The first pregnancy, not all pregnancies. It is also important to see the breastfeeding. What is the ideal condition of breastfeeding? Number of months in which the patient should be exclusively breastfed. The children should be exclusively breastfed.
6 to 12 months.
Not 6 to 12 months. It is just 6 months. Okay. So exclusively breastfed is 6 months. Ideal breastfeeding should be up to what time? Up to what time can you continue breastfeeding? And after what you should stop it?
2 years.
Yeah. Very good. So 2 years is the maximum or the ideal time you should continue breastfeeding. After 6, you have to start supplementary feeding. All these are important points the question examiner can ask you in this, and you cannot not mention these points. Okay, you should. So who are making a note of it, please make a written note of all these things that are important. Okay, you need to ask the history. As I said, you should ask the personal history of all these things. If it is not asked, you are missing out on an important point, and the examiner will definitely cut your marks for this. The next important point after the personal history is the past history. Can you move on the next slide? Past history. What are the points important for past history? In the case of history, breast, in the case of CA breast or a lump breast,